Alors. Et on va essayer de finir le donjon. Et comprendre ce que fout le village là aussi. On va bientôt pouvoir avoir un nouveau niveau.
Disappear. Here. Here. Worthless. Here.
Hey there! Umbrella warfare, I guess. Fire! Well, with rocks. Stand with me. Just coming at ya. Hiya! Ha! Ah! Dada Kundala.
Il y a un truc là-haut. On est dans le dernier acte de... On est à l'acte 5, donc on recommence le dernier acte. Que évidemment c'est l'acte qui me permettra de débloquer toutes les dernières. Donc là par exemple, oui, je peux acheter une villette. Je peux acheter Wriothesley, alors leur histoire, bien évidemment. Et là pour ces derniers, donc il faut l'acte 5. Donc une fois qu'on a fini ça, on peut avoir les 3 dernières et donc... Je vais vous enchaîner les missions, mais mon histoire. D'ailleurs, on vient de finir d'enregistrer celle de Sino.
Our bond is strong. Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Stone slates. It seems like...
Perhaps we should just leave them be.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that...
the surrounding walls.
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be destroyed.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose.
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, the slate's contents...
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same. she's facing this.
And is that Lady Farina in the third image? Did the Hydro Archon fall into the water?
And is that a ring of people around her?
The fourth image. I know this one. This exactly
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain. More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it.
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Neuvillette. Deciphering a...
Ooh, the Paimon's getting the chills just look. This says that it's the history of the future, right? That means the prophecy's sure to come true.
I really hope it doesn't mean that...
Still, Paimon feels...
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the fourth, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the third, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Farina only emerges in the third image. That means that the person in the second...
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here, the previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a...
Did she herself commit that sin? And if not... Also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all. Judging from their contents, could this place be the origin of the...
But who would have created...
It seems that any further clues will have to come from...
In that case, there's no time to lose.
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Chelou, quoi. Chelou.
Let's split up here. I'm going to check on what's happening with the Spina. You know...
You still have energy for that, Navi?
Just head back to the Fleuve Cendre and have a rest then.
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work, Traveler. I will go talk to Farina tomorrow morning. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office.
Are you really gonna talk?
She has long been...
Alright, we'll leave it in your...
I will be carefully...
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Fleuve Cendre is always...
We're finally back!
Welcome back. We've got a special...
Yay! And there's good food! Paimon's already starting to forget what...
Oh, that voice. Is that him?
Huh?
Mana?
It's you two. What?
Mona?
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time to...
Still, we didn't expect to see you here. Wait, you're not...
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out for a stroll when I bumped into you. Quite. Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a monster? Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me as her disciple that the first step... There was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now according to her wishes. To my surprise, however, Magistus is not the name of some ancient house or clan. Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a...
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Whoa, that's a long one.
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice as great scholar of the stars. Just take it as a title specific to astrology.
Thrice as great?
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Magistus, actually, but
Talk about excessive.
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same.
That sounds terrible! Ugh. But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you?
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dornman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while.
Oh, that's a good thing then. Oh,
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened. There's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird invited me to take part in a panel, and the invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone expected Fontaine to be in this much.
what do you make of that problem?
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist, and that this prophecy concerns the fate of Fontaine, even that of Altivat. Ascertaining this is akin. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you. But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from a powerful visionary. Its contents involve the fate of the world.
A visionary? Sounds really powerful and all, but does such a...
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I'd bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do something similar. Huh?
Thanks, Mona. You're...
Oh, well, this is something only I can do after all.
That's the greatest of astrologists for you!
Indeed.
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about. If there's anything you need...
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business.
Bizarre que
And
soit
there
là,
she
ok.
goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us... Right, but we were able to recruit... Good morning. To be honest, I'm still feeling kind... But it's time to get up, traveler. We agree...
29, manque un point.
You're here!
Is that...
Monsieur Nurvelet and Lady Farina, they seem to have got... Like I said, I've already explained everything!
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses, but it is not my intention to offend you. But please, tell me where you stand. You are the... Look at this. This is a list of the...
You mean...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. And I will not have it happen. I will say this once more. You must tell... Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson.
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't... But you found them in some...
That's correct. Which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 feature different images that seem to correlate to the... The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you know nothing of this?
I don't.
I'll ask you again. Do you really have... My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know about...
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know.
She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but...
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations. There are several indications that you have been investigating the... This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Ejiri. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss... Oh! The opera's about to start.
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her.
I assume you've been outside.
Oh! You noticed!
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so why did she keep... Everyone in her inner... We may have to create a situation in which she will have no choice.
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must have the Hydro Archon experience just...
But Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions. How do we make sure that she won't...
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parts. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but... This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Well, that's it. Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a
And here you are, drinking tea like it's the
That's what family should do. Sit and...
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me?
Then, how about you?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful,
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, as for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts.
Oh?
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot.
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up...
I see. And what does my boss...
He is glad that you consider him your boss.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, Oh, right. You were sick that day, weren't you?
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before. Does that count?
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal implement will also be necessary to deal with the prey. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so you can...
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the balling...
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water.
Calm and steady.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some... I remember that you liked those too.
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any...
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the... But I do have one more question for you, Miss. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey.
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment device and the type. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured.
Wait, why?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides...
So...
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any...
Oh, so...
Mais je vois pas comment on va pouvoir... Je vois pas comment on va pouvoir avoir Flana. Hein. Peut-être en demandant un chat, peut-être. Une journaliste. Il y a peut-être des infos qu'on n'a pas.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks it. It's hard to say. After all, you're the most reliable did you just pour some tea? Paimon's never seen that couple.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea.
Who's that voice?
Aw, have you forgotten?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Simi.
The voice from the sky, Huh. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim. The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied.
What? Then is...
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about? It all sounds really impressive and important and stuff, but...
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are ultimately. Fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your
The voice.
C'est quoi cette voix? Je crois qu'on l'a eu d'ailleurs dans la quête de Genèse.
Alright, coming! Hey, it's you who's getting late!
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively bands.
Mona!
Fine, just not all Fontanians are. Why, yes. I'm in full support.
That's right!
Ah, yes. About what we. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N sense of. But I've never met her. And if she were still alive, she'd be. Well, suffice it to say that.
Whoa. The Hexens.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrible.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is. Perhaps it is something that you can. Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far, but even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing playing. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish.
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrology. It was worth trying to. I suppose that.
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Paimon, let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Non. Là, je me dis qu'il va y avoir encore un tribunal avec Furina. J'ai pas de succès.
Huh? Our names are. Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued my recent attempts to enter the fort. Thus, did an outland. So while the fortress's interior, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the travel. Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find. Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day! It was so delicious the last time we tried.
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after. Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems
Wait,
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me,
do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No. Still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't... No. It's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat...
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please, I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this cake will be delicious. It's more delicious than last time! And the flavor gets even better with this. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here.
Forget about me.
Oh! We're near the Seabird office! Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Et on voit que je vais être bloqué sur une nouvelle quête encore. Non, putain. Oh, ça me tape les... Ça tape les coquillages là. Donc c'est vraiment la dernière quête.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon!
Ha! You've got some nerve!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were... It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the...
Really?
You're all...
Oh, Paimon!
Still, what bring...
A friend of ours met you a while back.
Ah, so you know... So she mentioned...
She said that you're...
Nice.
Huh?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more...
Yeah.
Why not? If...
Oh.
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. Whew, so much to get done now. Talk...
Wait, Charlotte. Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If... Just for example...
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often, but if you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from this. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to the various nations. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I... But anyway...
That's... so not... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty... Paimon's been thinking... If it wasn't Fontaine... No, Paimon... We've always been moving to the next... You mean... Still Huh. Feels like like you'll grow.
Je sais pas ce qu'ils font. Ils se lèvent
So the
ils
two
font
of
tous les
you
jours,
are
mais
still
c'est
here.
bien qu'ils.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mer.
Yes, I'm Isadora. Not at all. Yes, and
Alright.
well, Lady Farina loudly accused, and before she could, the crowd continued to grow.
So people.
I agree.
So what happened after?
Seeing that the situation, the Marechaussee
So.
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched many people to search. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god after all. Even if she good. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to tell you about the situation.
Don't worry.
Is that...
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know when Nervillet with it would be hard. Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Poisson and try to relieve the sense of, well, what do you think? In that case, there's no... This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. Give up, Farina. I'm sorry, but what can I even do other than to Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? They even dared to tout their Archon! Oh, and I'm sure Neuvillette and those people from the Maréchaussée Phantom are freaking out right next to them.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? That's against the rules.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to get...
Mais attends, les stèles. Toi, c'est celles où on voit un tas de personnes autour de Furina qui est en PLS. C'est pas plutôt genre les émeutiers qui seraient autour de Furina et Furina qui est sur le trône en train de pleurer, c'est Furina pendant son procès. La prophétie de Furina serait plutôt le fait qu'elle perde le soutien de tout le monde en fait.
Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here! Quick, come to...
What?
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine, I suppose, hey... I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
Yep.
What's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neuvillette's made some emergency plans.
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I've been investigating. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly prince... Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally, indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? But just now, as long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial—
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest.
Share. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you— and if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage—
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes. Now, without further ado, we may—
So, this. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice. The embodiment of justice—
May I interpret these words as your refute? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through—
You would draw your blade against a god— I see. It seems like you have made up your—
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender?
Wow.
Lady Farina.
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate— I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect— You are not the only— But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning— This time, applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're— Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this serious—
All right, then. Who will be—
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well.
Ah oui, cette fois on est dans l'autre l'autre stèle.
Also, please allow me to ask, just how much work did you do to force me on—
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis, we arranged for a second group.
So, you mean— The ones who scoured the settlement for me were...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate.
That's right. That house was a magic...
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Areneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a My thanks, Farina. Without your... Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran, you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be also that as soon as I appeared on...
Yes, that is...
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most out... As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on...
Oh?
It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the... I didn't... This is the... Fatui Heart... The words of someone as extraordinary as...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no... Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the...
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for first...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead... Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather...
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since the... See? Even the Trees has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never, if you wish, to drop the case?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute...
Well, and if I was...
Alors, pourquoi Fiona peut-il vivre si longtemps alors qu'elle est humaine?
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low at—
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might— But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina.
Well, it is true that it...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have... Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Font. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this...
That doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time?
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstance. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to...
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you, instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been...
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has... You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power...
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend...
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to...
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's...
Hey, come now, everyone! Please, I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Please?
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really had...
Did she deceive all of us?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence...
Wow.
Comment prouver...
can dissolve in water from...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive... including those of some of... So, Miss Farina, would you dare, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touch it? But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any... I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human...
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution, as it falls outside the realm of standard court procedure.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a
She's just staring at the...
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, Will you believe me now? I really...
Miss Siegewien, if you're
Siege?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds.
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying... She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other...
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina, you may...
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't...
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low concentration... It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't...
I can't believe...
Il est en train de perdre les plombs.
Listen to me, everyone. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon... Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse...
Well, what's wrong? What's the oratrice's verdict?
No, the oratrice also...
Isn't that correct?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, to be punished via...
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the oratrice? We just want...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes?
Yeah! Even Fache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the...
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very poor... But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title.
Ils me disent pas Furina, mais la personne qui est dans Furina. Furina est pas un double... un peu à la place. Putain, fait peur.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still...
Fremine! Huh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission, Father is...
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long... But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to...
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her? So when you say Hydro Archon...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of... However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro... Does that mean that... The second stone slate... This must be the point when the third slate shows the Hydro Archon... Huh. Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy. They didn't believe that such a...
We know from... And the first... This might... Perhaps what is about to tell the truth and the... It's not as simple. When Navia, the stones... The prophecy, the fortress, if we have...
Mm-hmm.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. Their essence will... The Hydro Archon was set to... Navia fell into the water. The eruption of the primordial sea... The stone slate's content can all be verified by recent events. Now, so that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear?
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater. And how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia, but that could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty.
The Hydro Archon's true sin?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the opera.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will this... Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make it... I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians, and in the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not want to give in. She eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's... She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history.
So we were all...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin...
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it does answer...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are a key point of the visual on the third slate. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is... The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine. Therefore, the meaning of the third, that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers...
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your... About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe it... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that...
The truth, the original sin,
D'accord, le normal. Ça fait bizarre. Oh merde. Ah.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main and once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea.
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled the...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full...
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite...
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection. Anyway, now that we know that
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it is... Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim up...
We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far. You can't just tell me that
Indeed, that's not how...
I'll fight it to the end. No matter...
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will... Just as prophecies are usually only... Ultimately, fate...
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
L'épée de Damoclès.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is...
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive...
Focalo.
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool the heavenly principle.
Deceiving the...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely end as one of the seven. She also knew full well that one defies the So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather... I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacled. I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the prophecy to be... I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quote... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by each...
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human count, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person... Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principle. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra are... In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is...
But Farina is only human. Isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any... I cannot begin...
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most It's been 5, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely...
Oh? Who permitted you to come onto this? All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to Oh, do not I am Focalor, the eyes of countless Fontaine... audience. The performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Lucky! Where'd that come from? Hiya! Ha! Dissipate! Coming at ya! Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Boring.
Watch out! Umbrella warfare, I guess.
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid.
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me?
Mirror you, huh?
Mirror me.
The prophecy.
What prophecy? Wait. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon...
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember...
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world. I will tell you how to save everyone, but...
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, I will admit, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in the... If there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other...
I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role.
Play as... a god?
That's right. You must begin a never... If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying...
But how will I do this?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an end. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but... So, how long...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. But I promise you...
A trial, huh?
Je veux pas courir un peu?
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first, what should I say, to most of, ladies, I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, in truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor as the god Focalor, the god of justice. I shall do all within my power to lead you. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might...
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of calm down, Farina. Think, assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and... Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut. Now then, let us...
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were in...
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Je sais pas si l'épilogue va être long, mais ça a l'air. Hein.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in... Besides, none of these trials were the one that...
If I may be so
A magnificent, dramatic, and one...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, lady.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood at... Oh, I'm afraid. All right. Deoteria, is it?
He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to Citizen...
You're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of,
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found...
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the... The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are... Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary.
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina, I've waited...
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me in... I don't think I let it. I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations.
And what a fine family yours is indeed.
Surely. Are you crying?
Uh-huh. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of...
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps I never imagined. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone, anyone all I can do is keep heart.
Farina, you don't have to show... Although I don't know what you...
Share. That's impossible. It was...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
a witness. And if Tevat is in its entirety, he's right. I could confide in him, but if things don't play out as expected, no, Farina. But what if... Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on—
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, it seems that trusting humanity was—
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half. How would you build on this foundation to say—
Ah, good. Of course the Iudex of Fontaine has— I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within. It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so. Alas, your understanding of this— In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is— Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also I mean, did you think I would be— My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnity, but really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide— The vast majority had to be
It was all a part of your plan then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestial—
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro— the destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent—
Returning what's rightfully yours to you. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon— Oh, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you—
All you've done throughout the years is just so you—
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well— Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole— I, for my part, am the god of justice. Speaking of justice, I have always believed that just so, if the theft of the primordial seas— then, leaving matters of in other words, Existence was Egeria's justice, defying the prophecy. At this point, Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last. I now understand the true purpose behind this. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside you are a devious things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
I, Iudex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Stylé comme avec ces ailes-là.
What just... Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all...
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment.
Didn't you say just a moment ago?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the... We should seize the opportunity to pursue our traveler. Now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution.
Donc là, on va affronter le narval, mais avec Neuvillette.
I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Ça va être long.
Can feel the sorrow turning into hostility.
This one's got your name on it.
Là, il va nous absorber. Non, on va.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
Là.
Witness the power dissipate. Out of my way.
For it. We'll conquer it. Here.
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its roots from within.
Fellow warfare, I guess. Just a little longer. Fire! Our bond is strong. This one's got your name on it. Umbrella warfare, I guess.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but it was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some—
That power.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must— It's just that he gave us the impression that she was, less talkative.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree, that kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative, it eats too much, and I have more important things to do with my— All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point—
Well, being that this pet— so what sort of person is your master? Well, child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, his name is Sir Tologi.
I am unfamiliar.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous. How should—
The foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterful that—
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhindaughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names in time, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhindaughter. They are both pursuing—
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't—
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has in other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne.
Putain la vache.
Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
Le bateau aurait été fait.
All hands initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Mhm.
The soil renewed. Old soil can skyship wing. The various dispute. People always call the. Wow, Paimon barely recognizes the people in the.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops lies in Edwin's assistant, Jurier,
Paimon's curious.
and that's exactly what.
Are you?
Oh, this time we'll.
Qu'est-ce que j'ai eu? J'ai pas eu le temps de voir. Au final, donc je pense qu'on va quand même finir la quête avant de couper, parce qu'on va pas lancer une autre quête pour une conversation. potentiel.
Oh, it's you.
Hey, I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Nate. Our residents are hard at work.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple.
That would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials.
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's...
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions?
Forget it.
I see you're the same as always.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more...
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants...
Was it a good
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes... Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty...
Wow, you really...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview.
Whoa, you're well in...
That's a...
In truth, I told him that it would...
You're right.
Stay safe now. And tell...
J'espère que ça va pas être trop long, parce que bon... c'est 4 h du matin, quoi.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic...
Looks like you've been missing us.
Dude! Did you come all the way to the entrance?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom are good.
It's an honor to finally...
No need to thank me.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, Miss Charlotte.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Mr.
Sir, please don't say things like that.
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it. Might this...
No, I just... This is my first time being interviewed, and I'm very thankful to the
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed chatting with you more. You've definitely got more of that genius vibe going on. The boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Still, if I might ask, where's that...
Looks like Charlotte's trying to...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory.
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an interview with you?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this couple of researchers?
Did you really have to use the word... Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this new drink?
See?
Hey, Miss Charlotte. What? Sure. Come on, Miss Siegewayne. Over this way.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone some changes, but...
Other than that flying ship, it got a tad too much attention, I think.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes. Am I right, Mr. Jurier? Miss Lorvine?
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun. Not that you would want that.
I see. Lots.
He sure did with.
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news.
Oh.
What change can there be? The fortress will keep as to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave.
Hey everyone, the photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a...
Maybe? Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater factory. All right, last stop, the docks.
Retour à la case départ.
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. A pair...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them.
Or trick a friend.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact?
Lynette sure is working hard to help Fremine so...
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic ship.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself. In the future, I think we can leave underwater as...
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with a...
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got... Father says...
that's alright.
Oh, after Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a
diplomatic gift?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. It could have been done as an Furthermore...
Well, that's true, but...
I would agree. I suspect you'll have... They say that he's returned to Snezh.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance.
Are you going to take the gnosis?
That is our duty as... Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the... As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are...
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like. The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled...
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out I guess this must be... All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte, huh? Shall we go see her Neverland?
Et je crois que c'est là où ça va se finir.
So, you really are here, Neverland. Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time this hour of the...
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a...
Aw, Paimon's glad... Alright, let's have it then.
It is strange how words can often leave...
Whoa. So that's what happened? But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute... Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought into being. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by...
Fossilor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking...
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the Gnosis had clear... We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only you were aware...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. So regarding this specific issue, I was just... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head to...
What next?
The all-devouring no... I can finally catch the scent of your power. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What?
I do not know what you
Of course. You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard of any such...
According to your parlor...
Well, that much is true. After Fossilor's divinity faded, she had... But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information... It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different... Regardless, you should... To live in itself is a...
What do you mean by...
No need to fret. These are just my... personal...
This third descender you refer to...
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to...
Next time, you believe we will...
I do. Wait.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not.
The remains of the third So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked...
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special...
And she said that it would...
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting... I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not that means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from... I wonder.
Like being able to use elemental powers without a bit. No, let's not think about comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this...
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses.
Alright.
Yes. All...
But... she's...
I suppose that would be the mystery. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds, life flows, and what ultimately?
Enfin. On est à jour sur Genshin. Voilà, on est enfin à jour Genshin. Donc on va pouvoir profiter des déjà de toutes les extensions en premier et surtout de tout ce qui va arriver, Natlan et compagnie. On va pouvoir le faire en direct, avec tout le monde et ça c'est cool. Bon voilà, mais j'espère que ça vous a plu. Moi je vous dis bien à la prochaine. C'était fait rire. Ciao les gars.
Surtout partagez, likez et oubliez